Using substance abuse and internet infamy is only guaranteed to end in disaster and probably some mental illness. Today we're going to be talking about King Cobra JFS, formerly known as Josh Saunders, a YouTuber from Casper, Wyoming. He's a bizarre and eccentric content creator who would most likely be found drunk and disoriented with a homebrewed alcoholic beverage clutched in one hand and a wand or a vape in the other. In my opinion, he's the most tame lolcow, but he isn't without controversy. You know what? No, I'm gonna off script. We're off script right now. I'm just gonna walk this back because during my research for this video, I've uncovered like a lot of disturbing behavior. Just, he's a lolcow for a reason. At first I was like, oh, you know, he's just like this awkward kind of like just weird guy, but he's actually been accused of DV, which we'll get into that later. Like the way he treats animals, it's pretty messed up. He once had a bearded dragon named Puff, and you know, he took Puff outside and the bearded dragon, he ran away. He's gone. And if you're in Wyoming, it probably didn't survive. It's probably not alive right now. Hopefully someone took it into their home and is providing adequate food and shelter and heat for the bearded dragon. Hey, editing me here, I'm just inserting some clips of Cobra admitting to drugging his pets. I don't care what recreational substances you choose to indulge in by your own choice, but don't do it to your pets. It's not okay.
Puff doesn't have a favorite strain that I know of. I don't get him stoned all the time, but every once in a while he likes a good fat hit, you know what I'm saying? If I'm smoking marijuana, Puff will kind of look up like, hey man, give me a hit of that. So I'll take a fucking huge ass fucking hit of weed and I'll blow it into his tank. 1 or 2 hits, he's good. He doesn't need a whole lot, you know.
This next clip is going to feature Mrs. Green, a praying mantis that he found, and proceeded to blow smoke all over while she was in the process of dying.
I'm probably going to set her on like the outside ledge so she can die outside in the natural environment she was in. Give her a couple more hits of the CBD before I do that. Yeah, I think Mrs. Green is about to die.
Okay, I hope you guys are having a beautiful day. If you haven't seen my video on Cyrex, please check it out to get a brief glimpse into the lolcow multiverse. There's a lot of them out there, and this is just the second one I'm covering. If you want to check out some of my other videos, I'll have them linked in the description below, and I'll also probably create a playlist so you guys can follow along as I'm learning more. You may be wondering, why are you so fascinated in this dude's life? Like, what is so special about him? I think the charm of King Cobra lies in his simplicity, odd, but not innately harmful. Although those opinions are now changing, there are some harmful things that he does, and it's starting to outweigh the charm of his eccentric personality. It doesn't seem like Josh really ever evolved into normal adulthood. His father has always given him a place to land whenever he finds himself in some sort of trouble. However, the financial assistance that Clint gives Josh only seems to enable his behavior and questionable life choices. King Cobra, he's an emotionally stunted man with access to too much alcohol, drugs, and public attention. Cobra is notorious for posting videos of his food hacks and mead recipes. And let's take a quick look at these recipes.
The Skittles meat is looking good. Fermentation line is on point. Skittles are dissolving nicely. Give it a couple weeks to see how the Skittles meat turns out. Look at that fermentation line, that is sexy. Homemade Skittles meat.
His food hacks typically include something like Doritos, burnt bacon, grease, barbecue sauce, ranch, and any other condiment he can find in his pantry. And he just like mixes it all together in like a conglomerate of slump. I don't know how else to describe it besides just slump.
No, I let it cool off because I didn't want to scold my mouth on it.
So that beer sauce is going to get microwaved, so all the butter and the grease melts in there. And then we're going to drizzle that all over each of these here ribs. And then we're going to stick it back in the oven. Although I might add a little bit more honey barbecue at the end of it. See how thick it turns out when I melt it. The cheese was melting all over the place. Luckily, it did not go over the sides.
There is no way his food can be considered remotely appetizing unless A, you are malnourished and desperately in need of food, or B, you're intoxicated. Unfortunately, Cobra seems to be drunk every time he posts a video or goes live. And if he doesn't have money to purchase alcohol, either a fan will buy it for him or he'll just make it himself. On a side note, anyone who DoorDashes alcohol to him, it's absolutely sick. It's one thing to support or troll an online creator, but to actively participate in contributing to his downfall, or let's be real, untimely death, it's disgusting behavior. He likes to claim that he's not an alcoholic because he hasn't had a drink yet. He hasn't had a drink all day, and it's like, what, 1 p.m. and he hasn't had a drink? It's kind of sad to see the deterioration of this person, like just physically, mentally, you can hear it in his voice. His demise will most likely be at his own hand, but there are people out there contributing to this.
Enjoy your gift. Enjoy the duster. You can a sweet high from it. From KC. I'm sure you can, but I'll use it for my computer.
A few moments later.
It makes you fucking sad.
In his youth, he used to talk at a much quicker, energetic pace, and you could hear emotion behind his words. Present-day Josh seems to just drone on in this monotone and slurred voice that remains generally unchanged in affect or pitch, unless he's raging. When I witnessed Cobra having his first mental breakdown, his content seemed less lighthearted and more sinister. In recent times, things have taken an even darker turn. You see, Cobra has been going through what he calls a 6-year dry spell, which means he hasn't had the opportunity to grace a lucky lady with his intimate charm. This changed when a woman named Jessica, also known as Queen Cobra or Naked and Laughing, reached out to him and the two formed a relationship.
Not a whole lot of fucking plans for the evening, but after we get off stream, me and Jessica are gonna watch the movie Tombstone because it's my favorite Western. That's
They're not even underwears.
Ha ha ha.
Am I too heavy for you?
No, not at all.
Don't lie.
This feels nice. Look.
I'll admit it, at first I was happy. I was like, oh, you know, he found someone to like take to the cemetery for a picnic, and you know, she laughed at his weird jokes, and it seemed like they were like meant for each other. They were just weird people being weird together. But Jessica is probably the worst thing that has ever happened to Josh. This woman is absolutely terrifying, and she's foul. She's just a foul human being.
Then can you please not say shit about me that's not true? I beg you.
You totally say shit, but that's not true on camera all the fucking time.
Josh!
Fucking hell.
So should I start hitting myself all over again?
No, because I won't solve anything.
So please, why are you doing this to me?
I'm not doing anything to you. Could you please stop?
I haven't fucking done anything!
You're yelling at me. And I asked you guys to please stop yelling at me. That's all I did.
I'm not yelling at you!
Right now you're yelling. Just calm down. It's gonna be okay. Jessica, it's gonna be okay. You stop.
Stop making the noise!
I'm not doing anything, Jessica. I'm asking you to please calm down. That's all I'm asking.
Do you hear anything out of me? Stop it!
You're
But I'm going like this! Stop it!
Okay. Please just calm down. It's ridiculous.
What did I fucking say? I don't care what you cook out of! Leave me alone! Stop judging me!
I'm not judging you,
I
Jessica.
don't care what the
I'm
fuck
not
you cook
judging
out of!
I'm not judging you, but you please stop shouting.
In the future, I'll have to make an entirely separate video to cover the destruction that she brought into his life. But for now, I'll focus on Josh's irrational and downright disgusting behavior. Let's be clear that two things can be true at once. Jessica can instigate, harass, and Josh, but Josh has also played a role in verbal and alleged physical. And we can see this in many videos. We haven't seen any videos of physical altercations, but the way they talk to each other, it's like, how do you even talk to another person like that? Like calling them a slag and a cow, and just that's, and he's always talking about like respect women, like, you know, don't be a sicko. That's like his catchphrase is I F the sickos, you know, and he's kind of treating women like he's a bit of a sicko. After Jessica visited Josh in his hometown, they argued violently to the point where Josh was evicted from his apartment. There were other things that went on during that time, such as Jessica breaking windows, and they were yelling and arguing. The cops were called multiple times. She flooded, I suppose, the laundry room after loading all of the washers on max capacity. It was just a lot of turmoil and trouble, and I feel bad for the residents of his old apartment complex. I would be pissed off if I was their neighbor. I couldn't put up with that shit. So after Josh was evicted, he moved, and, you know, he was kind of keeping his location on the down low, kind of keeping it secret. And then, lo and behold, Jessica is at his house. You know, he's like, you know, it's all right. Come on back. It's okay. It's all right. I don't know if they like reconciled things in private, but she's at his house again, and he allows her to come into his home with the stipulation that she does not live stream. That's all she had to do, was just not live stream. They probably would have argued over something, but of course she breaks this agreement and she begins live streaming, and she's covertly broadcasting their conversations on Facebook.
How am I a slag? That's not fair to me, Josh. I did tell you I was live. Why would I have to fucking trick you? I told you I was live before I fucking...
Because you said you were going to go to Albertsons. Instead of going to Albertsons now, you're live.
Because
after you fucking said, I'm sick and tired of people harassing us. I don't want to go live to satisfy blah, 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 blah.
And I'm not...
And then now here you are live on your channel. You are fucking full of shit, dude.
The arguments they have generally form as a result of some miscommunication, and it quickly snowballs into personal and derogatory attacks. Many of Cobra's fans and trolls tried to warn him after Jessica's first visit that their dynamic was toxic and abusive. But, you know, he allowed her to return into his home, and it just caused even more mental and physical damage. At this time, he claims that the relationship is officially over, but like many others, I believe Cobra will end up either keeping their communication open until one of them is arrested, or worse. All right. I'm just gonna put this in here as an update as I was doing my research. These two have been going back and forth online for several months now. I don't know if it's been over a month they've been going back and forth, and it's just, I don't understand, because Josh will be saying things like, I wish she would keep my name out of her mouth. I wish she would leave me alone. But he continues to respond and engage in giving her attention. And that's what all this is. Like, it's insane. And then Jessica will be behind a Walmart screaming drunk on a bike, yelling at dogs. Like, she's like screaming at people's dogs. It's just, these two people, like when I say they were made for each other, they were made for each other, but they just can't work together. And it's bizarre. It's so bizarre. I don't think anyone who watches Cobra wants him to end up on the wrong side of the dirt. The life he's currently living is foreshadowing his future, filled with unfortunate circumstances. Hopefully, they just stay away from each other. They need to stay away from each other before there are actual charges filed between these two. But until next time, I hope you guys are taking care of yourself. Make sure you drink some water, hug your pets, and stay lovely.